Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to do part 8 of my What If Deku Was a Saiyan. So, in the last part I explained how between the time of the raid on the villain hideout um, and basically, where we were, Deku basically just went to school and for 2 hours a night every day he was going to Whis at the lookout to train in the time chamber for basically a month at a time. And the moment, basically that was before and after they made the policy of the dorms. So pretty much it he is gaining a lot of strength. He is not yet at the strength of Vegeta after the 6 months of training with Whis, before Goku started with Whis as well. So they're really not that. He is powerful, but not yet to a certain point. He is able to use God form. He is able to activate blue, but only for like seconds at a time, because when he trains with Whis, he basically just trained to get more strength and more ki in his normal form. And while at school, he's basically always in his God form, and he has sensu beans to basically boost himself up from time to time. Did I say there was sensu bean in this? Because if I didn't say it, well, there is, for starters. Sorry. So, during the day, he basically eats about, every time he starts running low on ki, he basically eats one to get back to full strength and gain a small Zenkai boost to his energy, reserve of energy, because basically when he's close to having no, sorry about that, so yeah, he eats one basically every time, and I don't get why my voice won't stop bugging. So basically right now what he's doing is trying to get his god form under control while in school, and when he's training with Whis, he's basically augmenting his already massive amount of ki, augmenting his normal strength, and learning. Whis is trying to make him learn how to control Ultra Instincts. So, when the license exam comes up and he gets told about it, he basically asks if he can take a week before the license exam happens to just train with Whis all the way, which basically every teacher, Aizawa and some other teacher that know about what Whis is and basically how his training goes, basically tells him, you're not already strong enough for that? Like, seriously? Which he says, I'm always going to go stronger, and I'm going to have to do something later that requires a lot of strength. So basically, they accept, saying, you know, that after you do that, you will be um, late on, well, not late, but um, basically behind everyone in class with the learnings. He says it doesn't really matter, he'll just learn everything after. So he tells it to Whis. Says so. Well, basically, since Beerus stays with him in the room as well, he just thinks, so I'm going to see you train for 7 years straight. Nah, I don't want that. Then he tells him, so, mhm, well, Izuku tells him, so if that you don't want to see me train, why don't you wait outside the room for 6 days, and after that come in and we'll fight. Beerus thinks for a bit. 6 years of training with Whis constantly. Yeah, that could be a good fight. And so basically he does that. Basically sleep the whole 7 days. So when the 6 days, I mean, when all of them, the 6 days are done, um, Kami basically wakes him up and Beerus goes into the room and at this point, basically, while well, he basically told Whis about what he was trying to do, control his god form to be able to use it without losing any ki, and to also try to be able to control blue. He basically was doing half of the day with natural training, and the other half in the room basically in god form, completely trying to control his ki. So he was getting a lot better in controlling that. While being in god form and later in blue, doing that he was basically just meditating, and Whis was basically trying to teach him Ultra Instinct by the relaxation and explaining to him how it works. He will not have it yet. Why do I say yet? Well, because basically he's going to train. Well, Whis and Beerus will stay there for a long amount of time. Basically, the Grand Priest allowed them to stay in that world for about 3 years without them being in. Well, no, about 10 years without them being in Universe 7 because basically Beerus already sleeps for like 20 years just saying it's not even a cat nap. So he's just saying, yeah, it's basically not gonna change anything. So while there, Whis is training Izuku every day, and every time there's a pause from school, he's basically staying whole days in it. So he's not spending 24/7 of the time there, but a good amount of it still. So he is going to be strong. So when basically Beerus enters the room to fight with Deku, Deku's in his base form, and they start fighting with Izuku basically telling Whis to heal Beerus every like 10 minutes so that at least it's kind of fair since he just gets healed every time, which and Beerus know by this point. So basically, like destruction would kill Deku, but that's only if it touches him. But just like in the anime, we saw Frieza being powerful enough to basically counter it. It wasn't as strong as the one that a true God of Destruction had. Like we saw Topo use destruction on him, and it basically almost killed him. Compared to the other guy who was basically just give a small amount of it. So basically Izuku was trained by Whis to be able to kind of control God Ki to an extreme amount. Sorry if you heard that. Um, so while they were fighting, Izuku in his base state was basically making Beerus fight a bit stronger than what he would normally do. Then Izuku went Super Saiyan, then Super Saiyan 2, starting to push back Beerus, which then started to use more power. So he pushed back Izuku again. Then Izuku went Super Saiyan 3. And then he said to Whis, throw it. If you're asking what's happening, it's basically because Izuku also decided to ask Whis, well, to learn the Blood Wave technique, because he wanted to learn to control his Super Saiyan 3 Ozaru form, to control it. So Whis basically decided to do that, to see what would happen. And after a while, he was able to learn to control it. So he was basically a giant ape against a cat. And Beerus was basically using a lot of power at this point. Like in the anime, the retcon version, which is the true thing that was happening, it was basically 30% of Beerus' power used against Goku in Super Saiyan God. So if you think about it correctly, at this point, he shouldn't. They were are well, or Beerus is using 70 something percent, or he's using 80 right now in this what if. And then Deku starts destroying him by detransforming and going Super Saiyan God. And Beerus is being waxed at this point. You might think it's overpowered, but he spent 6 years training without rest to control both his power, strength, the way and his ki to augment everything that he could control, every state that he had. So he's not even in Super Saiyan Blue, and he's already waxing the God of Destruction. And he still has a year of training to do before the license exam. If you want to say he's too powerful, sorry, but Izuku has basically the same amount of potential as Goku, so they kind of grow at the same rate. The only difference is that Goku basically needs to rest. And he takes a lot more time because, well, he doesn't use the time chamber with Whis. So in the time chamber with Whis, without sleeping, eating, or anything like that, with his injury basically healing themselves automatically, which gives him automatically Zenkai boost, his power is growing. And to an extent that he is beating Beerus right now. So Beerus pops out Ultra Instinct, not the mastered version because even he cannot do that yet. So, well, him being one of the three strongest God of Destruction, they say he's the strongest, but the clown basically never showed his true power, so we cannot know. Even though the clown thinks he is the strongest one and just doesn't want to show it. Right now, Deku's basically stronger than him because he's waxing the floor with Beerus, and he has a form that augments that power by 50. So he is way too strong against basically any gods of destruction at this point. Which basically, after another year of training, he learned to be able to basically be in blue form without restraint, without strain on his body, without loss of power, and with almost no ki lost. Basically, the amount of ki he loses by doing it is directly replaced by a bigger amount that is just regenerating from Deku's power naturally. So if he wanted to, he could stay in blue for practically ever. He didn't get evolution for the simple reason that he never really fought against anyone afterward that was stronger than him. Since Whis doesn't have the right to truly fight him, even though at this point he thinks that he could actually give a good fight. So basically he even got a lot stronger from being in the time chamber another year. So when they go for the license exam, basically everyone, well, no, let's change that. The last day after fighting Beerus, he decided to go and, well, to ask Whis if he could bring every one of his classmates in for the last year, and if he could try to train them, since they're all human and they will only grow at a normal rate. He basically accepts just because, well, the power the power he has, one for all, is supposed to be passed to someone else. And at this point, it's way too much for anyone, so he basically will train humans to basically have that power normally by trying to make them learn God Key. So basically, he go as them. He's able to bring them in with All Might and Aizawa for the last year. Well, which makes a year for them. In that year, well, everyone basically got a massive amount stronger because Izuku explained them precisely how to. Well, Whis is a pretty good teacher, but Izuku's able to make things, well, to explain things in a term more easy to comprehend for other people. So he basically explains it like that. Well, in a way that after 6 months, each of them is able to kind of tap into God Key, which augments their power by a massive amount since they basically, at the end of the year, get pretty much that power normally in them. They can, if they want, boost their power even more, but basically they are stronger than normal, like a lot. So for the license exam, when they arrive there, the first thing with the ball, basically everyone in class A is running around so freaking fast that no one's basically able to see them. And basically grabbing balls, slowing down right in front of people and touching them so that the camera is able to at least pick them up. Then they just fly up and stay out of the way. Even Shoto, Bakugo, and everyone else like that. So they all got their points for that one. And the one afterward, which is to help people. They were basically everyone just flying around, pushing, building, and other stuff out of the way, grabbing people, bringing them to other places where it's safe, stuff like that. When the villains attacked, basically, Gangorka and the other ones, Shoto directly got punched Gangorka and put him on the ground in one hit. Every other student in UA, well, in class 1A, basically catched and put down every other villain that were there. Everyone in class 1A got their license, and they went with the same agencies as before. Well, those that went with agencies. So, Kirishima with Fatgum, Izuku with Night Eye, Tsuyu and Ochako with the Dragon Girl. Don't never remember her name for some reason. And Tokoyami with Red Hawk. So I'm going to end it here. It is not a long episode, but I've got my friend that basically talks to me in real life that told me he wanted to know what I would do with them, and he started being a little annoying because he basically asked me when I'm going to do this one, this one, this one when we talk. Well, text actually, but still. So this was for you. Okay, so seriously, hope you liked it. This was part 8 of What If Izuku Was a Saiyan. Yes, they are overpowered. I know that. And Natsu out.